Are you ready for today's spy story? An espionage trial that has been on the verge for years now may be about to blow up. Cue the music. Thank you. Two lobbyists charged with conspiring to obtain secret information about America's policies in the Middle East. Information they shared with reporters and with officials of a foreign government. The foreign government in question is Israel. And with American politicians competing for decades now to see who can win the biggest Friend of Israel designation, this case has been a political hot potato, to say the least. Condoleezza Rice, Paul Wolfowitz, Douglas Feith, former National Security Advisor Stephen Hadley are all set to testify for the defense. An official of the Defense Intelligence Agency, a man named Lawrence Franklin, already serving more than 12 years, a more than 12-year sentence after being convicted of providing the materials to these suspected lobbyist spies. Now this week, a plot twist worthy of Parallax View. Did you ever see that, Warren Beatty? It's really good. In the investigation into Israeli spying, the feds had a court-ordered wiretap of one of the suspects. The suspect they were wiretapping, according to three sources who spoke with Jeff Stein at CQ.com, had a conversation, a wiretapped conversation, with California Democratic Congresswoman Jane Harman. Mr. Stein's sources say the transcript of that call reveals Ms. Harman saying she will try to get the charges reduced for those two lobbyists facing the spying charges if, in exchange, she can get a little help lobbying Nancy Pelosi to make her chair of the Intelligence Committee. Youch. She allegedly ended the conversation by saying, quote, "This conversation doesn't exist." So right then and there, the FBI reportedly decides that not only is it investigating Israeli spying, they've also got an offshoot investigation now into Jane Harman. Did Jane Harman break the law? Stein reports, quote, Justice Department attorneys in the intelligence and public corruption units who read the transcripts decided that Harman had committed a completed crime, a legal term meaning that there was evidence that she had attempted to complete it. They were prepared to open a case on her. Okay, so at this point, we've gone from any James Bond movie, the spying investigation, to Parallax View, spying investigation sneers Congresswoman. Now, you ready for the next twist that makes this worthy of, like, 3 Days of the Condor? Okay, next twist. The Justice Department is ready to open a case on Jane Harman. They have allegedly got her on a court-ordered legal wiretap offering to try to influence a criminal espionage case in exchange for a political favor. In the New York Times today, it actually says the favor was that billionaire Mighty Morphin Power Rangers guy would threaten House Speaker Nancy Pelosi that he would stop ponying up for Democrats unless Jane Harman got the Intelligence Committee job. Justice Department, is ready to open a case into Jane Harman. The head of the CIA is reportedly ready to notify Congress that there is a national security investigation about to blow up involving a member of Congress. When this next plot twist happens, Alberto Gonzales surfaces. Alberto Gonzales, Attorney General at the time, shows up and quashes the whole Jane Harman investigation. Two sources telling Jeff Stein at CQ that Gonzales put the kibosh on any criminal investigation of Jane Harman, saying that he needed, quote, he needed Jane. He needed Jane. He, and by extension, the Bush administration, needed Jane Harman for political reasons. She was reportedly the one Democrat the Bush administration felt they could count on to support their warrantless wiretapping program. The administration knew the New York Times was about to publish their big expose on that program. And so by virtue of having that political utility to the administration, being one of the 8 members of Congress who was briefed on the reporting on the program and would say that she supported it, by virtue of having that political utility, Alberto Gonzales made the case against her go away. At this point in the story, the moral could be that our system of government depends for its life on the separation of powers. The Justice Department, all of law enforcement, must be separate from and above politics, or we are not a country of laws. We're not even what we think of as the idea of America. In concrete terms, that means, in today's news, that President Obama doesn't tell Eric Holder who gets prosecuted for torture and who doesn't. In the bad old days of the Bush administration, the Justice Department was all about politics. Alberto Gonzales shouldn't surface in a story about congressional corruption, but there he is as a central figure. You need a reminder of what change ought to mean? Here it is. But meanwhile, this story continues. And by this point in our spy movie continuum, we've morphed into totally complicated, like, Syriana territory. As to the question of whether or not Congresswoman Jane Harman from California sought an illegal quid pro quo. Jane Harman says she never called anyone anywhere to try to get leniency for the lobbyists who were charged with spying. If it turns out that she is on this wiretap tape saying she will do that, she will ask for leniency, but then she didn't follow through, does that still mean she's committed a crime? Congresswoman Harman is calling on the Attorney General to release unredacted copies of all transcripts of all conversations in which she was wiretapped, hinting that the material in the CQ story was leaked selectively to hurt her. She also told Andrea Mitchell today on MSNBC that she considers it an abuse of power that her conversation was wiretapped in the first place. I know she's a member of Congress, but I would venture a guess that any of the Americans who ended up getting wiretapped by our government in the Spying on Americans program that she so vocally supported probably feel the same way. To the question of whether or not the former Attorney General Alberto Gonzales broke the law by quashing a criminal investigation for political reasons, Alberto Gonzales so far isn't saying beep, no comment, not even a denial yet. As for the alleged spies, the Israeli spying ring who were the front of all of this drama in the first place, there's word today that after at least 9 delays of their trial, the charges against them are going to be dropped. Justice Department sources saying it's totally unrelated to all the other drama swirling around this case. They would say that, wouldn't they? At least that's how it would go in the movie.